All right, y'all. Football season's almost here. You know, I'm a Fight On Trojan super fan. Not to put too much pressure on the head coach Lincoln Riley, but I think it's pretty obvious that we have a lot of expectation this season. By this being year 5 of Lincoln Riley, and USC has yet to make the college football playoff, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of good things in USC's favor. 15 returning starters, the number 1 recruiting class for 2026, and some hell of a transfers, new D coordinator. We got a whole lot of things in our favor. Can we execute? Can we come together as a team and execute? Can we make the playoff? Now, going back to Lincoln Riley, right? When this hire first happened, it was a thing at USC, and a few people said that we got our guy. And I like Lincoln Riley. I think he's a genius. But for the people to say we got our guy and give him this big contract, I don't think he was as proven, as we thought that he was. You know what I mean? Not we, but because I never thought that. As far as like the hype goes, So it's like they're saying we got our guy and they give him this big mega contract, but he hasn't won national championships. He's not proven. Now, I can see if they say we got our guy, Urban Meyer. You know what I mean? Nick Saban. One of these like top tier guys, you know what I mean? Maybe even, I forgot the Ohio State's coach's name, you know what I mean? Or maybe even the Dabo. So maybe one of them type of guys. But Lincoln Riley kind of came out of nowhere, as far as, this big contract. So I think there's a lot of hype behind it and a lot of wishful thinking behind it. And going into year 5, still hasn't met the playoff. Now, listen, I don't want to hear nothing about, once again, I like Lincoln Riley. I don't want to hear nothing about it takes time to develop, No. That's over with. That era in college football is over with. You can change a college football team overnight. Everybody goes into the portal. Teams transferring overnight. You can change the team overnight. 1 and 2 seasons, you can change the whole program around. We've seen it done. So we don't want to hear nothing about developing players, because a good percentage of the players who get recruited don't even stay at that school. You know what I mean? And it's coming down to coaching, technique, skill, and stuff like that. Preparation, game planning now. Because before, you had like a few schools who had all these 4-star, 5-stars have all the athletes. Now, all these 4 and 5 stars and big top athletes who are not getting playing time, they're all transferring and spreading out across the country, different schools. So now all these schools are kind of loaded. You know what I mean? Then you see over the recent years, the big money schools are trying to get that back and hog up all the good players, because they feel like, oh, well, shit, we can't have these schools coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? They want to keep that prestige. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to start seeing the big time money schools, these blue bloods, these type of schools reach the top again, because they know they got to spend that bag. You know what I mean? Even though spending the bag don't do nothing. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing personal against Oregon and Texas A&M, but they've been dishing out the bag every year for a long time, and they ain't got nothing to show for it. And it's not just me, I told you so, but I mean, I've been saying it, like, they get all these money, all these kids, and they get knocked out the first round playoffs. It's just gonna happen. They're never gonna win nothing. But they have the 0 national championships in Oregon. Whatever. USC, optimistically speaking, we got a good shot. I think we have the talent, you know what I mean? And that's 75% of the battle. Do you have the players to execute? I think we have the athletes. We got the players. We definitely got the coaches. Lincoln Riley's a genius. You know what I mean? We should be able to put up points against anybody. We got cold defense. So it's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation. Prediction. I'm going to go optimistic. I'm going to say 10-2. I'm going to say 10-2. I mean, we got the talent to beat all these schools, bro. I mean, let's just be real. We got the talent to go 12-0. You know what I'm saying? And make a run. But it's always, one day we don't show up. You got injuries. You got things don't happen the way we want things to happen. So I'm going to say 10-2. If we win less than 10 games, is it a fail? I think it's a fail if USC doesn't win 10 games based on all the expectation, based on everything that we have coming back. I think it's a lose because we're not getting up anywhere. We're not growing. This is not a regular school. This is not a school, and I don't want to just throw no names out there because these are great programs. This is not Nebraska, Wisconsin, where they're happy with win 4 home games and win 8 or 9 games and make it to a decent bowl game. No, there's high expectations at USC. It's high expectations. So, for Lincoln Riley as the head coach, now I haven't really looked into his responsibilities, meaning that does he have control of the whole program? Because, some coaches don't have that power. What do I mean by that? Some coaches come into a situation to where they have a defensive coordinator already. They have this type of coach already here on file, on contract, and he's going to be there. The school loves him, whatever, right? Some situations come in where if I'm going to be the head coach, I'm going to take the blame for everything. I want to control everything. I want full control. I want my offensive coordinator. I want my defensive coordinator. I'm going to call the plays. I want this DB coach. I want this wide receiver coach. And that's how it really should be, because when it all fails, it all falls on the head coach. Well, you hired this guy. Your defense looked like shit. Or your offense looked like shit. You the head coach. Why you got to mention head coach? And see, sometimes a lot of y'all don't know things are already like that. But we get into a little too far deep in it. All right, whatever. I'm optimistically thinking, prediction, we're going to win 10 We're going to win 10 games. I think we're going to upset Ohio State. I think we're going to win the hard games. And I see us losing to like Oregon and Washington, something like that. But I see us beating Indiana and Ohio State for sure. Anyway, man, fight on. Like, share, and subscribe. We back. See y'all soon.